Xiaomi is a brand with legacy for a few things: flagship killer smartphones, great $5 wired earbuds when people used to have those, and the Mi Band series, or Xiaomi Smart Band. Pretty sure it was the Mi Band when it first launched. Anyways, now it's in their 9th generation. And as always, I took it out to the real world for some testing. Here's what I found. Hate to start off the review with some downers, but the setup process was a complete nightmare. It doesn't have a power button, so you have to charge it to get it to turn on. Sure, okay. But then you're greeted with this QR code that directs you to install an APK file of a Mi Fitness app. And no, you can't use the same Mi Fitness app from the Google Play Store. It just won't register. And you also have to set your region to China. So that was all very fishy and chaotic. I would even recommend waiting for the global version just to not have to fiddle with this. But once you're in, things start to look up. Now, I have the regular version with aluminum. I wouldn't say it feels premium, but it doesn't feel cheap. For daily activities, it does a good job against scratches too. So far, I only see one visible scratch that came from accidentally smashing this to a barbell. And while Xiaomi didn't mention any specifications on what glass is used, it too seemed to do a pretty good job at resisting scratches. There is also the ceramic version, which is cool, but it was only available in white, and I didn't think it'd go well with a steel band. The size and weight hasn't changed from its predecessor at 10.95mm, 15.8 grams. Little small, very light. And it's still the 1.62-inch AMOLED at 192x490 resolution. But the brightness increased to 1200 nits, so I had no trouble viewing this display even in the sunniest summers of Korea. That said, the brightness setting is automatic and does take a few seconds to adjust. Also, the bezels are noticeably asymmetrical. Fortunately, the interface makes clever use of the AMOLED display to hide that as much as possible, and I only noticed it when using a colored watch face. Now, as expected, I do like the look of the Mi Band with the steel bracelet. But I have to give it to Xiaomi. The included rubber band feels really great as well. I hate that it's in this gray color for the silver model, so I stick with the steel band 90% of the time. But it's also easily interchangeable with a click of a button. Next to those buttons are redesigned sensors that look a lot more refined. Xiaomi claims that these sensors are 16% more accurate for heart rate and 7.9% more accurate for sleep tracking. And while I have absolutely no way to test that, the band was able to accurately detect a 1 to 2 hour nap, and the total sleep time seemed on point as well. Heart rate was also consistent with the intensity of the workout, although the device does tend to actively measure heart rate when it's in workout mode. As you know, wearables are still far from true health monitoring, but I did appreciate that these metrics do provide a basic insight regarding your health. Speaking of, the band supports over 150 sports activities, 2 of which I actually used: weightlifting and treadmill. Again, nothing too fancy. It recorded time, estimated calories burned, and heart rate. The step count was on par with the readings I got on Samsung Health app, which is a good sign, I guess. It's also 50 meters water resistant, and you can actually take this to the shower or go swimming. Unlike some cheaper smartwatches that say you have an IP68 rating but doesn't recommend you do either of these activities. Then there is Xiaomi HyperOS. Xiaomi doesn't mention much about their new processor, so I had little expectations. But maybe it's the combination of their new operating system and processor, but the software experience was very smooth. 60Hz on this small display is plenty and feels just as responsive as any high-end smartwatch. The biggest difference is in app support. There's no third-party apps available, which means you can see notifications, but you can't interact with them, nor view previous messages once they're dismissed. And the interface just has some quirky aspects. For instance, there's no home button or gesture for that, so you have to manually swipe left and go back to the home screen every time. And when you read a notification and want to see the time again, well, you have to wait a few seconds, even after the display turns off. Otherwise, it'll just show the previous thing that you were watching. The raise to wake feature works great now after a software update, but If you want to use the always-on display, you have to disable raise to wake completely. Finally, the band includes a pretty decent 233 mAh battery. Even with features like advanced sleep monitoring and breathing rate turned on, which consumes more power, the device lasted me well throughout the week and then some. Charging was slower than expected, took almost an hour, and the percentage would sometimes decrease, which was weird, but overall I'd say battery life was solid. So should you buy the Xiaomi Smart Band 9? Well, if you're new to wearables like I am, I would recommend this over cheap $30 alternatives from lesser known companies. The metrics are consistent, performance is fast, and this actually says you can take it swimming. It does have its drawbacks, mainly the small display that makes it hard to view messages, the absence of a home button, etc. But for 50 bucks or 40 euros, I'd say this is a great and even stylish entry point into wearables. I realized after using this, I'm more conscious of how much I sleep or whether I get my daily steps in. I can also easily find my phone with Find Phone. So yeah, I would recommend it. Just make sure you don't import the Chinese model. The setup process is just not worth it, and a lot of the watch faces are in Chinese. Although I'm not sure if this is the case for the global version. So that's been my review of the Xiaomi Smart Band 9. Would love to know your opinion or any tips from the Mi Band community, so please leave a comment, like, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.